Black supremacist, Nattyisisyah, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about the superficialness and the idealism that goes on when people consider themselves conscious, or when we say that we are, nation building, or just I don't know what the hell some of y'all doing. At the end of the day, I don't know, but for example, I'm making these videos. We're outside, and it's like now you're seeing a lot of people outside in the forest, in the grassy area, and it's like, okay, y'all know a little bit about nature now all of a sudden, right? But at the same time, it's like I used to consider myself a prepper, and a lot of what I see people doing falls into the category of just prepping. They're not really living that life, right? And the problem with prepping is that at the end of the day, you are still giving into capitalism and materialism. Like, I can't express that enough. You're still in your city house, you're still in your apartment, you're still going to work, going to school, and somehow you think that you're going to be able to prep for the end of the world materialistically, but psychologically and physically and socially, those are all left out of the category. Nobody's really getting out and being about that life, And it's the same thing with people who say they're conscious. We say we're conscious. We say we're the indigenous people of the earth. We say that, we are the earth's rightful rulers, but nobody wants to actually live as though we are these indigenous people who are Earth's rightful rulers and creators and manifestors of our destiny. You still want to try to compete in the white man system with the white man, with other black people, um, still buying all these products. I mean, when you, in order to really prep the way how you are really told and suggested that you have to prep, you have to almost spend $1 million, if not more, right? So I could see why some of you are probably going to have to stay in school. Some of you are probably going to have to continue going to work for the rest of your life, um, especially if you're black. A lot of these white people, they can, get their retirement money. They already got money saved in the bank. They can, this is a hobby. This is a hobby for them. For black people, you're struggling to keep up with prepping, you know? You're struggling to keep up with this whole idea of, you know, I'm preparing for the end of the world. When, it's like, if you're really preparing, if you're really prepping for the end of the world, you should be living that life right now. Because how are you going to help facilitate the end of this world when you're going to their schools, right? You're going to their workplaces. You're performing the duties that are keeping the system alive, right? And at the same time, you're buying exorbitant amounts of grains, protein, peas, um, toiletries. You're supposed to be stocking up, right? So you should have all types of flours, all types of seeds, all types of equipment that you're going to need, backup equipment, old stuff, used stuff, new stuff, just packed up and stored and concealed throughout your house that where nobody else is supposed to be able to identify it. So you're probably going to have to go to even greater lengths to store this crap, and which means you might end up needing various amounts of places to store these items, costing you more and more money. And it's like you kind of get the drift that you've been hoodwinked and you've been bamboozled. It's just another trick. You've been caught up into this 21st century consumerism, where you're just now a new consumer slave of the modern era, right? So I think black people, our preppers, need to look into that, right? And we've had preppers that have helped us, and we've had preppers that have offered us, um, places to stay and to to prep and to live off the grid and all sorts of things. And you know this is no I'm not trying to knock anybody's lifestyle or anything like that. But what I'm really trying to touch on, what I'm really touching on, is the fact that we have to actually live the life that we proclaim. We can't be just um, like some people who consider themselves preppers, their daily life really contradicts with the life they are preparing for. You know, I hear people complaining that I can't afford to leave the city. I'm frustrated. I hate when people say this, or I hate when people say that. But it's like, if you're really prepping, if you're really a so-called prepper, you should be able to leave at a moment's notice, right? Um, you know, shit is really going down. Are you going to be looking at all this stuff you have stored in your cabinets and your closets and all that, and be like, how am I going to leave this? Should you really be concerned about money if in case of a end of the world type situation or whatever, which I've already went through all of that mentally, physically, and whatnot. But in case in that type of situation and scenario, is money really supposed to be a determining factor whether you can stay or leave the city, right? So at the end of the day, it becomes pretty unrealistic, and you can kind of see how, you know, you're pretty much just benefiting the people who you say um, you know you are against, in terms of system wise, in terms of, you know, uh, why you're prepping. Like, so it's like, for black people prepping who are, I guess, black conscious, you know about their history and whatnot, you're giving all your money to these gun toting, trigger happy crackers that are could probably give a god care less whether you live or die in a Tiatwaki or shift type of situation. So it's kind of it's so contradictory. You know, how many black people are really owning these businesses that you are buying from, and what are you going to do instead? You're going to buy 1,000 pounds of shea butter to say that I'm supporting black, or I'm buying from a black business. It's unrealistic, you know. Because another thing is you know, even since I've been here with King Noble, you know, people can say that, you know, we are preppers, or that we've prepped and they've seen that we, you know, we this and we that. But if 20 people come down, all that all that stuff just becomes depleted really easy, right? And people are also, you know, they can get they get shocked when we no longer have, I guess, 50 boxes of freaking cereal to feed their sugar addiction. So it's like, you know, just saying that you're a prepper and just giving into this prepping lifestyle is unrealistic to the actual goals and the needs of a revolution and black liberation, and the mindset that we actually have to have, right? It can't just be a YouTube video, and it can't just be I'm part of this niche, I'm part of this brotherhood or sisterhood, I'm part of this clique. You know, you actually got to live that life. Come off of your narcissism, right? Because that's what a lot of people have, that leads them into thinking that, you know, we don't need to actually do what it takes, you know, because a lot of you have to ask yourself, what does it take? And I don't want to make this video too long-winded, but I just wanted to touch on some of the prepping aspects of being um, being in the system and in the matrix, right? Because the bottom line question is, how can you be an indigenous person and be a prepper, right? How can a indigenous person be considered a prepper? So that's probably what I'm going to title this video. You probably never heard of these indigenous preppers. They've stored all this food in the forest. You know what I mean? You know, they're able to live 2,000 years without ever going to the store. You're not going to hear that. So how can we say we are indigenous people, but we're prepping? Anyways, Black Supremacy. Join the website kingnobleuncensored.com.